Hey everyone. Okay, so this chapter is titled RPG, and that is honestly very fitting reading this chapter because just this whole little adventure up right now, just within this chapter, felt like the Straw Hats were going through some kind of D&D campaign, and like you can you can honestly tell from reading this chapter that Oda had probably been playing some kind of had probably either playing some Dragon Quest or been playing some kind of RPG in what little off time he has, because the whole thing just felt like an RPG. The Strat's going on an RPG type adventure, and and only after getting a better look at the scenery in this chapter did I realize everything did sort of also have this Lego Minecraft aesthetic to it. So contrary to what I said last week, this definitely isn't Elbaf or some illusory dream or whatnot. It's very much real. But I don't think they're on the main island either. Now that of course does beg the question of where exactly are the Straw Hats. And the only thing that does make even the slightest bit of sense, just from how insane everything feels, even by One Piece standards, is that I think this Landaron is one of the many worlds of Yggdrasil. Like, I think Oda is very heavily drawing upon. I think with this chapter, Oda is very heavily drawing upon the idea of Yggdrasil, the world tree, and where they are now is one of the many worlds on the tree's branches. And and honestly, if this is the case, then I feel the Twitter theory I've heard of Elbaf having mirrored elements to Amazon Lily, in the sense where the Straw Hats are going to find themselves separated among the many different worlds of Yggdrasil, or whatever the One Piece equivalent of that is, and ultimately is going to be, and that in itself is going to be used as a story engine, in order for them to grow even to train and grow even stronger than they are. But more specifically, this is basically how this is I think how Oda is going to place much more is going to use. I think Oda is going to very specifically use Yggdrasil in order for the benefit of Usopp. He's gonna use this as a means in order to really test, and in order for Usopp to really grow strong, to really grow stronger and whatnot. Yet ironically, going back to the theory of it again, theory of the mirrors to Amazon Lily, if that theory is in fact valid, then that would mean also that Loki himself will be the antagonist of this arc. And again, following with that Amazon Lily comparison, I think how that's going to play out is that Loki himself will very much fall in love with Nami, and wants the Straw Hats out of the way from interfering with courting her. At least, again, that's how the theory goes. So, in an ironic way of, if it does go down that way, in an ironic twist of Loki wanting to get them out of their hair, he's actually going out of his hair. They're actually going to want to. They're actually going to want to. He's actually going to make them stronger, but they're actually going to come out stronger by this, if that is the case. And but I will admit, one thing that has me questioning this theory of the comparisons to Amazon Lily and whatnot, and how it could very well, and how Elbaf will have mirrors to that arc, is it might be a little redundant to send them back there if the entire journey for the crew reuniting is going to take them across Yggdrasil. But if the journey does keep them centralized within a very limited number of locations, it could still work. Now, with that said, we do need to talk about the person in the bearded stag mask chasing the Straw Hats, who supposedly is the sun god of this realm. And getting the obvious out of the way, I don't believe this guy is a god, at least by the literal definition, because one thing that stuck out to me is that Usopp points out that the sun god seems to be some sort of artisan, as when they rescued Chopper, he was tied to a giant sewing machine, which may also explain how they woke up in the clothes they did, and likely this entire world was constructed by him. So maybe the term God, maybe when you're considered a god of Elbath, it's someone who achieves great feats, and in the case of the sun god, he's very much like a master artisan in that sense. So that could probably be what this whole sun god business is about. Also, I'm not gonna lie, this whole chapter did feel like a very stereotypical One Piece adventure, because you got the inciting incident of that giant biker guy, like, talking, like, riding a roach, telling the Straw Hats not to go anywhere near, not to go anywhere near the Sun God, but because Luffy is in the room, he obviously ends up doing the exact opposite, and Usopp and Nami feeling upwards to prevent him from just hearing shit like that. But it's like puts it in that whole like again endless loop of like we're gonna go on an adventure kind of shit with Luffy, but just them getting dragged along anyway. And the expressions in this chapter are just fantastic. Like I remember, this is one of those chapters that makes me like. This is one of those chapters that puts into perspective something I think I remember hearing Oda say post Wano that he kind of admitted that the story got a little too dark for him. So the Joy Boy reveal was like the start of a somewhat return to that, and ever since Egghead to now, I'm definitely seeing Oda return to much more of his roots, which again I'm not saying I didn't like the darker tone, but I can definitely see a lot of merit in what Oda was talking about and how maybe he did go a little too off one edge and forgot the other, so to speak. And Sanji. I understand what you're saying, but let's be real here. Luffy isn't feeding off anyone's energy other than his own. Like, if anything, Zoro is feeding off his own energy. And, yeah, there's not much more to talk about. The only other thing I do want to mention, though, with this chapter is having to do with Loki himself. And this is something that again was basically brought to my attention, but by the same like Twitter person who had come up with the Amazon Lily theory, I think. But another theory about Loki is that he's not exactly Loki, the god of mischief, at least not in the particular sense, but potentially what Oda might be doing with Loki is that he might be taking more inspiration from the great Viking warrior of Loki the Outlander. I think that's probably that, given the culture of, that's probably more who Loki is he's like more Loki the Outlander king or whatnot kind of thing. But it's going to be interesting to see like so it's going to be interesting to see which direction he goes with Loki, because I could see him going in both directions and taking bits and pieces from both what versions of who Loki is mostly recognized as. And yeah, although one thing I will say though is with the reveal of this sun god possibly being like an artisan, it makes me wonder where the animals fit into this situation, because it says they're like that they're like that they are like that they are like that they're like they're mentioned as being soldiers to the sun god, but with them wearing clothes and whatnot, makes me wonder if they're also kind of like his models that he uses to like model the clothes he makes and whatnot. It's kind of, again, it's everything is so bonkers and backwards with this that anything can kind of happen. It's curious. It's kind of fun to kind of piece together what exactly this is, what's going on. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. From on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll, push the notification bell, subscribe button, and just share it around, guys. Dark Note Vinny signing off. Later, everyone.